Well, I, together with many of my colleagues in both Houses of Parliament of the United Kingdom, are deeply concerned about the deteriorating human rights situation in Iran, in particular in the months following the nuclear deal that has seen a heavy crackdown on the civil society, human rights defenders, and an alarming increase in the number of executions. With over 2,400 executions, including the hanging of 63 women since Rouhani took office, Iran's government can be seen as the world's leading executioner per capita. According to a recent Amnesty International report, Iran is one of the few countries that continues to execute juvenile offenders in blatant violation of international law. We, and especially perhaps the female members of both houses, are appalled and condemn the state-sanctioned discrimination against women in Iran that marginalizes women to second-class citizens. Under the Iranian regime's constitution, women are subjected to a compulsory dress code, which gives state security organs an open hand to harass women in public under bogus charges like malveling. In a shocking report earlier this year, the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child reiterated, I quote, "Iran's regime must reform its laws that allows girls as young as 9 to be executed for crimes or forced marriage with much older husbands." Last month, a woman was publicly flogged for having relations outside her marriage, in addition to the outrageous flogging of up to 35 young men and women after they were caught holding a graduation party together in a city in north of Tehran. I join the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights in condemning these floggings and the use of such barbaric punishments that are prohibited under international human rights law, and in particular the Convention Against Torture. On the occasion of International Women's Day earlier this year, I and some 30 women parliamentarians from both Houses of Parliament supported an initiative highlighting and condemning these harsh realities that the women in Iran are suffering. We called on the British government to act unilaterally and at the international level to impose punitive sanctions and travel bans for those responsible for these blatant and systemic human rights abuses in Iran, to publicly call on the Iranian regime to stop executions, torture, and its state-sanctioned discrimination against women, and to make any improvements of UK relations with Tehran contingent upon their implementation. In our statement, we also recognise the 1,000 women and members of the Iranian Democratic Opposition in Camp Liberty, Iraq, who are at the forefront of the struggle for a free and democratic Iran for the last 3 decades. That's why I'm encouraged to hear that tens of thousands and hundreds of parliamentarians and dignitaries will gather in Paris on July the 9th in support of this struggle for democracy and the 10-point democratic platform for Mrs. Maryam Rajavi for future Iran. My message to these brave women is a better future is on the horizon, and we, members of all parties of both Houses of Parliament, will do our best to continue to press the Iranian regime so that your days of freedom and equal rights come sooner rather than later.